You've seen them, right? The charts, the graphs, the media pundits pointing to massive spikes in their data and confidently declaring, look, the numbers don't lie. And we naturally nod along because, well, it's data, it's math. And math has to be completely objective, right? Actually, scratch that. Not exactly. In this explainer, we're challenging that very idea. Because while the numbers themselves might not lie, the people drawing the circles around those numbers, oh, they absolutely do. Today, we're uncovering a fascinating mystery about exactly how your perception is manipulated.
Okay, let's dive into this. There's a famous saying, numbers don't lie, but the people who select them absolutely do. To really grasp how this works, I want you to picture a visceral metaphor. Imagine a cowboy, totally blindfolded, just firing a revolver randomly at the side of a massive, empty wooden barn. He finishes firing, takes off the blindfold, walks up to a completely random cluster of bullet holes, pulls out a bucket of red paint, and carefully paints a perfect bullseye right around them. That is the exact essence of what we're decoding today.
Section 1. The problem. Painting the target after the shot.
To figure out the mechanical trick manipulators use to fake their expertise and basically make completely random noise look like undeniable scientific fact, we need to define the Texas Sharpshooter fallacy. It's the act of cherry-picking data clusters or finding a pattern after the fact just to fit an existing presumption. It's a brilliant, if totally dark, psychology concept. Disingenuous debaters will literally just ignore any conflicting evidence that gets in their way. I mean, it's a highly convenient way to win an argument when you only acknowledge the facts that already support what you want to believe.
And this illustrates the manipulator's game perfectly. Think of all the available evidence out there as a massive pie. They completely ignore almost the entire thing. The vast majority of reality? Tossed out. Instead, they sift through mountains of random noise just to zero in entirely on that tiny 1% sliver of data that actually supports their claim.
The method is incredibly simple. Shoot a barrage of data and draw the bullseye later. See, they don't start with a target and then try to hit it with their data. No way. Instead, they shoot a massive barrage of random numbers and statistics at the wall. Find the one spot where a few data points happen to cluster together by pure chance, and then they draw the bullseye around it. Boom. Suddenly, they look like an expert marksman who literally never misses. Let me ask you a direct question. How many times have you been completely convinced by a terrifying, highly cropped graph on your social media feed? Really think about it. You see this massive, scary spike, only to realize later that the creator intentionally zoomed in on a tiny 2-month window out of a massive 10-year trend just to make things look catastrophic. It's a super frustrating realization, isn't it?
Section 2. The agitation, the pattern-seeking glitch.
So why does this manipulative tactic drive analysts absolutely crazy? And more importantly, why is it so lethally effective at tricking our brains over and over again? Well, it comes down to an evolutionary survival mechanism. We are biologically hardwired to seek out patterns. We look up at random clouds and we instantly see faces. We look at scattered stars in the night sky and see a hunter with a bow. Because of this, when someone presents us with a tight data cluster, our brains instantly want to believe there's a meaningful connection there. It's basically an ingrained glitch in our biological software.
Because of this pattern-seeking glitch, dishonest debaters can create a false sense of cause and effect out of thin air. Take this totally absurd comparison, the divorce rate in Maine versus the consumption of margarine. If you map these two over a specific timeline, their lines actually overlap perfectly. Manipulators will scour huge databases until they find two completely unrelated trends that just happen to align by pure chance, and then they'll confidently present it to you as an undeniable crisis.
Or get this one, a perfectly correlated trend comparing the number of Nicolas Cage movies released in a year and the number of swimming pool drownings. I mean, you have to laugh. Here is a wild statistical reality check for you. If you torture the data long enough, it will confess to absolutely anything. Does Nicolas Cage cause drownings? Obviously not. But if you draw the bullseye after the fact, you can make pure nonsense look exactly like peer-reviewed science.
While those examples are funny, the real-world harm here is incredibly serious. Controlling perception by hiding the vast majority of data destroys critical thinking. It allows politicians to claim their single, specific policy caused a massive economic boom, while they deliberately ignored dozens of complex global factors that actually drove the market. It allows internet gurus to claim their weird morning routine guarantees massive success, cherry-picking the 3 successful people who do it while ignoring the millions of unsuccessful people who do it too. By hiding the bulk of the data, they completely control your perception of reality.
Section 3. The solution, the wide-angle framework. So, the crucial point is, how do we defeat the Texas Sharpshooter? You cannot argue with the data inside their tiny circle. You must force them to zoom out. We do this with 3 steps. Number 1, hypothesis timeline. Number 2, missing context. And number 3, cherry picking. Let's see how this builds to force the manipulator to step back. Because remember, if you fight them inside their artificially painted bullseye, you lose. You have to force the perspective wider.
Let's start with step 1. Ask them, did you predict this pattern before looking at the data? True science works by stating a hypothesis first and then collecting data to see if it actually hits the target. The Texas Sharpshooter does the exact opposite. They collect the data first, sift through it for a pattern, and invent the hypothesis later. So when someone presents a shocking pattern, ask them if they predicted this beforehand or if they just sifted through the numbers until they found something that fit their bias.
Moving to step 2, demand the rest of the barn. You have to instantly expose the missing context. Do not let them isolate the data. Calmly ask what the numbers look like if you zoom out. Tell them, okay, you're showing me a very specific cluster. What does this look like across a full 5-year trend? Or what if we look at the entire population instead of just this one tiny subset? You are essentially forcing them to show you the whole wall of missed shots.
And finally, step 3, label the fallacy. Call out the cherry picking directly. Once you realize they've cropped reality to fit their narrative, just shut the argument down. Tell them directly that they're cherry-picking data clusters to suit their presumption while completely ignoring all the evidence that proves them wrong. Remind them it's not a real argument. It's simply the Texas Sharpshooter fallacy in action. Now, let me give you the ultimate psychological cheat code for dealing with a data manipulator. The next time someone smugly slides a heavily cropped, highly specific graph across the table to you, just look them dead in the eye, smile slightly, and ask them this. Fascinating. Now show me the data points you decided to leave out. Just watch their dominance evaporate right in front of you. A genuine debate relies on looking at the entire truth for sure, not just the convenient bits.
Which brings us to our final, provocative thought for this explainer. Will you let them crop your reality? Manipulative debaters will always try to use this trick to paint fake targets around random noise. But now you know exactly how to demand the full picture. You have the framework to dismantle these toxic arguments in real time. So next time you see a shocking graph, remember to zoom out. Stay sharp, demand the full truth, and whatever you do, don't let them crop your reality.